Announcements continue to be made on the west side of the river in Ascension Parish. There's a push for a new hospital from the WAFB team now. A distinguished architect who helped design the world famous Superdome 5 decades ago is suing a public entity in Ascension over a breach of contract. He says he was hired to draw up plans for a renovated hospital in Donaldsonville, but when it came time to pay for his work, the public body that controls the budget pumped the brakes. Our chief investigator, Chris Nakamoto, spoke to the architect and the CEO of the hospital as this matter is now tied up in litigation. Chris.
Good evening, Liz. The contract was signed by the architect and a hospital administrator in November of 2018. Nearly $800,000 in, and 7 years later, that architect says he's still waiting to be paid. These blueprints were supposed to be a bold new beginning for this building. A shiny new lobby, waiting area, overhaul of patient rooms, and a facelift outside, all part of the plans to freshen the feel of the aging West Ascension Hospital. The hospital, nestled deep inside Donaldsonville, has served the city for nearly 6 decades.
There was a question about whether we should go new or renovate.
Henry Chauvin drew up those renderings. For the past 65 years, he's used his ability to design projects with purpose. Chauvin says at the age of 83, he's one of the last surviving architects who worked on the exterior walls of the iconic Caesar Superdome in New Orleans. Despite decades of determination for the work he loves, he's now in a fight at his old age, demanding compensation for the work he performed for the hospital and other experts he now has to pay.
I never sued nobody in my life, but I owe my engineers, I owe other people, and I need to get paid for all of our work.
Chauvin recalls agreeing to the project about 10 years ago. That's when the West Ascension Hospital District had an idea to renovate or rebuild the Donaldsonville Hospital. Chauvin signed this 24-page contract, a standard document for architects working on public projects. But once the work was complete and Chauvin submitted a bill for $484, nothing happened. A different hospital board was in place by then and pumped the brakes on his payment. Chauvin sued the hospital district in February of last year for the amount he says he's owed. The contract, which has no amounts, uses a percentage system for things like the design phase, construction phase, and procurement process, a common practice for architects, according to Chauvin.
We just went ahead and used the standard state fee. That's used by architects all over the state.
Facing an insurmountable challenge, Chauvin had to get his sons involved to help him. The fact that he had a contract and was not paid, what goes through your mind?
If it's a black and white contract, I don't see what else can be questioned on it.
Spencer Chauvin is furious because as the clock keeps ticking, the contract specifically states that taxpayers are on the hook for interest each day that the hospital district is in default.
It's a huge slap in the face to the taxpayers because these guys are spending money that's not theirs on a defense and interest that they know is running up the tab for the taxpayer. The interest is $90,000 additional.
I can only discuss what's going on now.
Shelton Anthony is the CEO of the West Ascension Hospital.
As you know, this is an ongoing legal matter right now, so it is pending. But I will say this, that we are determined to do what's right, and we are determined to do what's in the best interest for the residents of this district.
Anthony acknowledged money is not the issue as to why payment was stopped, but said because of the litigation, his hands are tied getting the architect paid.
I don't see that financially there is a problem.
According to Anthony, the West Ascension Hospital is licensed for 25 critical access beds. And with expansions announced last month for Hyundai Steel to come to Donaldsonville, he expects they'll need to increase services. Anthony believes a new facility would better suit the city of Donaldsonville instead of the renovations that were drawn up.
Some may argue that fighting a contract that's already been signed is not a good steward of public funds. How would you respond to that?
I would say we have to do our due diligence, and we have to make sure that not only we are doing our due diligence, but both sides are doing their due diligence to make sure that we are providing the outcome for the community. And I understand that there's a signed agreement That's all in litigation.
For Henry Chauvin and his sons, their frustration over the lack of payment is compounded by the bills they now owe to other professionals who worked on the blueprints.
I just feel awful not being able to pay them.
And they say their father's good name is being dragged through the mud.
He's probably one of the most prestigious architects in the parish for the last 50 years. And these men questioning his bill also questions his reputation and his integrity. And that's a direct insult to that reputation it took him so long to create.
The lawsuit says each day the contract isn't paid, interest continues to accrue at $189 per day. Anthony says the lawyers are planning to schedule depositions next as the board fights the payment. For the WAFB team, I'm Chris Nakamoto. Liz?